Hi guys, so we're going to be doing chapter 5, demand and supply in action. So in the previous chapters, we've been looking at demand and also we looked at supply. Now we're going to look at demand and supply together. So by the end of this video, you should be able to calculate the equilibrium price and quantity given demand and supply equations, demand and supply schedule. Should also be able to explain how a change in demand affects the equilibrium, price, and quantity in the market. Should also be able to explain how a change in supply affects the equilibrium, price, and quantity in the market. Analyze simultaneous changes in demand and supply. Analyze what happens when the government interferes in the market. Minimum prices, price flows, maximum prices, price ceiling. Yeah, so this is just chapter 4 recap. I did this in the previous video. So if you don't remember, you can just watch my previous videos. Also, this is just a recap of what we did in chapter 4. So in chapter 4, we studied demand and supply individually. We also said ukuthi a price will only cause a movement along the demand curve or along the supply curve, right? And the only thing that will cause a shift rightward or shift to the left or to the right in the demand or the supply curve are the determinants of supply and the determinants of demand. We also mentioned those determinants to say ukuthi could be the changes in the prices of relative goods, and those relative goods we say are substitute goods or complement goods. Guys, remember that. So the substitute are those that we can use in place of another. For example, I gave an example of BB and Albany to say you can either buy BB. If you don't find it, you can buy Albany if it is expensive or if the other one is cheaper. Also, complement goods are those goods which are used together, such as your petrol and a car, such as your toothpaste and your toothbrush, and so on. Also, other determinant could be your changes in your income and what expected future prices, and so on, guys. But if you want to remember these determinants, you can just go and watch the previous video, or you can just like look at chapter 4. So now, yeah, we're looking at demand and supply in action. So change in demand affects the equilibrium price and quantity in the market. So if there's a change in demand, it will affect the equilibrium price and the quantity in the market. So what will cause an increase in the demand? So we did learn these determinants to say they would cause an increase or a decrease in demand. So here they're saying an increase in demand, and yeah, we did this. I'm just going to like quickly go through this, but we did do it. So an increase in demand, we do know that our demand curve, when it increases, it shift to your right. As you can see here, it went from D to D1. So these are the determinants that will cause an increase in demand, such as an increase in the prices of the related goods, increase in consumer income. Let me just use this example. So if your income increases, you can see that now your demand will also increase. It will increase. So this is shown by the shift of the demand curve from D to D1. So if the demand curve shifts from D to D1 and the price remains at P1, you can see that we're going to have excess demand, because you see if the price remains at P1 and there's a shift in the demand curve, we're going to have an excess demand here at quantity 3 maybe. But to avoid this, so when the quantity demanded when the demand curve shift to the right, indicating an increase in the demand, there's going to be an increase in the price and also an increase in the quantity demanded and supplied here at equilibrium. And also you can see that here in the supply curve, there is a movement along the supply curve, an upward movement. So from E to E2. This is because of an increase in the price here. So I did mention that all the other determinants of demand and supply would cause a shift in the demand or the supply curve. Only the price would cause a movement. So because the price increase, it leads to a movement in the supply curve. Do you guys understand that? Yeah, but this one, Jay, yeah, that what you need to know. And also, if you need clear explanation, just go to my previous videos. I did explain these determinants and their effects. So an increase in the demand, that was what? That was an increase in the demand. Okay, they're still repeating the same thing here. To say equity, an increase in the demand will increase the price and increase the quantity exchange. As you can see, there was an increase in the demand. The price increased from P0 to P1. The quantity demanded also increased from Q0 to Q1. This represented by a rightward shift. As you can see, the increase in demand is a result of an increase in any of the determinants of demand except the price. This is very important to note that all determinants of demand will lead to a shift or an increase in the demand, the entire demand curve. But if there was an increase in the price, it had only caused a movement along the demand curve, which is why when the price increased here, it only caused a movement along the supply curve. And then what happens to supply? They say it remains unchanged, but the quantity supplied increase as the price increase shown by the upward movement from E to E1. So the quantity remains unchanged, it does not shift, but because of an increase in the price, you can see that there's a movement upward in the supply curve from E to E1, and also an increase in the quantity which is demanded and also supplied from Q0 to Q1. So this is also evidence in the what's this? The law of supply, which says that the higher the price, the higher the quantity which will be supplied. So because now the price increased, you can also see that the quantity also increased from Q0 to Q1. Also a decrease in demand. So a decrease in demand is shown by a leftward shift in the demand curve. Let's just look at this one. So they say here a decrease in demand will decrease prices. As you can see now, the demand curve is here. It shifts to the left from D to D2. And then what happened to the price? The price decreased. Because if the price remained constant here, if the price did not change here, we're going to have an excess supply. Can you guys see? Because your demand is going to be here and your supply was going to be here. So there was going to be excess supply. To avoid this, have to adjust prices down. And if you adjust prices down, they're going to decrease to this new equilibrium price and quantity of Q2. Do you guys see that? So yeah, and then they say this is represented by a leftward shift. That is what I have explained to say that because there's a decrease in the demand, there's going to be a leftward shift from D to D2. The decrease in demand is a result of a decrease in any of the determinants of demand except the price. Any determinants of demand will cause a decrease in the demand if they decrease. So if your income, for example, decreases, then now your demand starts to decrease as well. And also what happens to supply? It remains unchanged, but quantity supplied decrease as the price decrease. So because now the demand curve has shifted to the left, indicating a decrease in the demand curve, you can see that there's a movement along the supply curve from E to E2. This movement is caused by what? By the price, because the price has decreased from P0 to P2. You see, guys, it came here. And then there was a decrease also in the quantity which was supplied and demanded because this quantity is here in equilibrium from Q0 to Q2. And also here, also the law of supply, it states that there's a direct or positive relationship between the price and the quantity which is supplied. So now because the price is decreasing, the quantities also will decrease. Suppliers are always chasing a higher price. So if the price decreases, they'll also decrease their production, as you can see here. Change in supply affects the equilibrium price and quantity in the market. What will cause an increase in supply? So now we're looking at supply. So what will cause an increase in supply are all the determinants of supply as well, which you guys know of. So they say an increase in supply is indicated by a leftward or a downward shift of the supply curve. As you can see here, they're saying that an increase in supply, oh sorry, an increase in supply. An increase in supply will decrease prices and increase quantity exchanged. So this is our supply curve. And then if maybe like the determinant of supply decrease as well, maybe let me just look here, a reduction in the price of any of the factors of production or of input. So this would mean there's a reduction in the factors of production. Maybe like the price of raw material. Let me just use this one. Maybe the price of raw material it decreases. Then now obviously when the prices of raw material has decreased, that means it will reduce the cost of the business, which will enable the business to increase their production. Do you guys understand? So that is why the supply curve here, it has increased from S to S1, which is a rightward shift. Also here, if there was an increase in the supply curve from S to S1, and then the price remained at P1, it did not change, we're going to have an excess supply. Can you guys see? Because this is my demand curve and this is my supply curve. Can you guys see at here and here? So the quantity demanded is now here at Q1. And because our supply has increased from S to S1, here we're going to have maybe here is quantity Q3. So you can see the quantity supplied is here at Q3. If the price is P1, the quantity supplied will be here at Q3, and the quantity which will be demanded will be at Q1. So we'll be supplying more than what is demanded, which is why we'd have to adjust the prices down to meet here at E2, which is the equilibrium, to get this new price, which is P2, and also this quantity here, which is, I think it should be Q2 here. This Q2 should be here. You guys understand? Yeah. So we also say here, such an increase in supply means more goods are supplied. Yes, so this increase would mean that more goods are being supplied. And then shift in supply could be the result of a change in any of the determinants of supply other than the price of a product. We know this, that the shift is caused by a determinant of supply, but not the price. The price will only cause a movement. As you can see here in your demand curve, that when the determinants of supply increase, the supply curve will increase from S to S1. And if the prices remain constant, will have an excess supply, which is why prices will have to adjust down to from P0 to P1 to this new equilibrium price and quantity, which is E1. So if now the price has decreased from P0 to P1, you can see that the quantity which is supplied and demanded here at our new equilibrium is Q1. It also increased from Q0 to Q1. Can you guys see that? And then on our demand curve, there's going to be a movement downward movement from E to E1. Why is this? It's because of a decrease in the price, which led to an increase in the quantity, which was demanded and supplied. The law of demand, it says there is an inverse relationship between the price and the quantity, which is demanded. So inverse relationship, how? There was a decrease in the price, which led to an increase in the quantity. You guys understand? But here we're just focusing on the supply, and you just need to know that the determinants of a supply, when they increase, the supply curve will increase to your right, And then the price, we can't keep them constant because we're going to have an excess supply. So we have to adjust the prices down to this new equilibrium price and quantity. What will cause a decrease in supply? Also, is the determinant of supply. You can see here as well, I'm just going to use the example of the effects of production. So if now the prices of our effects of production increase, this would mean now that it's very expensive for us to purchase some raw material, pay our employees, and so on. So if that happens, then we're going to have to reduce our production because now it's expensive for us to produce. So our supply curve will then shift to the left, indicating a decrease in the supply from from S to S1. Also, if our supply curve decrease from S to S1 and we keep our price constant at P, we're going to experience an excess demand. Can you see here? Because now we're supplying less here at Q3 and consumers is demanding more here at Q1. Can you see? So there's an excess demand. Here's our demand curve, here's our supply curve. There's an excess demand. So to avoid this excess, we have to adjust the prices up. So the prices go up until they reach the equilibrium price and quantity, where now quantity demanded and supplied is the same at Q2. That's the price of P2. You guys see that? And then there's going to be a movement along the demand curve also from E to E2. This is caused by what? By an increase in the price and also by the decrease in the quantity, which is supplied and demanded. Keeping in mind the law of demand, which state that price and quantity demanded, the price has an inverse relationship with the quantity, which is demanded. Hope you guys understand this part. So basically here there was a decrease in the determinants of the supply, which caused a decrease in the supply curve from S to S1. If we keep the prices constant at P1, we're going to have an excess demand. Can you see that? From here and here. This is our demand, Q1, and this is the supply, Q3. So you can see that what is supplied is less than what is demanded. So you're going to have an excess. This piece here is the excess. This piece here is the excess that we're going to experience. So in order to avoid this excess demand, we have to adjust the prices up. When we adjust the prices up, they reach the equilibrium price and the equilibrium quantity where demand and supply meet. So here we have the quantity demanded and supplied being exactly the same as Q2. And the price is now P2. I hope that is clear. Yeah, they're basically saying the same thing here. So simultaneous changes in demand and supply. You would have to draw this to understand it. Let me just draw it because okay, let me just look at this. They say an increase in demand. This is basically this table. This table is just that here they've drawn the graphs as well. So an increase in demand. So here, this is our demand curve. It increased from D to D1. An increase in supply. This is our supply curve. It increased from S to S1. Change in price is uncertain. Quantity will increase. So they're saying here, if there's an increase in demand and an increase in supply, simultaneously, the change in price is uncertain and the quantity will increase. Let me just do it in the same graph so that you guys see it. So I'll just draw here. So we have our thing like this. Then we're going to have my supply curve, which is positively sloping, indicating a direct or positive relationship. My demand curve, which is negatively sloping, indicating an inverse relationship. So this relationship between the price and the quantity. So guys, this is my thingy. I know it's not like perfect, but then this is my demand curve, this is demand, this is supply. So now if there's an increase in demand and supply simultaneously, so I'm going to use a different color. So we know that when demand increase, it shift to your right. So here's my demand curve. And also when supply increase, it shift also to the right. So here's my supply curve. So guys, can you see now that they're saying here if there's an increase in the demand and an increase in the supply, changes in price is uncertain. Meaning that here, can you see that now? The price did not change. The price is still here at P1 if this was P1. Can you see, guys? But quantity will increase. Now the quantity has increased because here's our new quantity. It has increased from here to this side. Can you guys see that? So this is basically what they're trying to explain, that if your demand increase simultaneously with supply, the price will be uncertain, but then the quantity will increase from here to here. You have to be able to draw these graphs and also be able to interpret them as well. It's very important also to know the determinants of demand as well as the supply and how they will affect the demand and the supply curve. Also here they say if there's an increase in the demand and a decrease in the supply. So here increase in demand increase from D to D1, a decrease in supply decrease from S to S1. There will be a price will increase, but the change in quantity is uncertain. Also, to show this in one graph, I'll just write here. This is my supply, which is a direct relationship or positive relationship between the price and the quantity. This is my demand, which is negatively sloping. And then this is the price, and this is the quantity, which is demanded and supplied at equilibrium. This is going to be my P1, and then this is Q1. So they're saying that if there is an increase in demand, so this is my demand curve, guys. It is negatively sloping. So we do know that when demand increase, it's going to shift to the right. So here's our demand. And then they also say, and there's a decrease in supply. So we know that our supply, this is my supply curve, it is positively sloping. So supply curve, when it decrease, it moves to the left. So this is the decrease in supply. So guys, you can see now that because there's been an increase in demand, this is D, I'll just write here D, this is S. So because there's been an increase in the demand and a decrease in supply, look what happened to the price. The price is what is uncertain, and what happens to the quantity, and the price does what? It increases to P, to this P now. Can you guys see? So this is what they're saying here, that an increase in demand and a decrease in supply. So this was my demand curve. It increased from here to here. And then also they say, and a decrease in supply. This was my supply curve. It decreased from here to here. And what happened to the price? They say the price will increase. As you can see, the price went from P to P, from P1 to this P here. It increased. Changes in quantity is uncertain, meaning that I just assume that this basically means there would not be an effect on quantity, because now you see that the quantity here remains constant at at Q1 maybe, if this was Q1. So you guys see. So if there's an increase in demand, but you don't have to cram this. If maybe like a question is asking you this, and then maybe they say an increase in demand and a decrease in supply, what would happen to the price? You just draw this thing, just draw an increase in demand. So you have your demand curve, increase it, and then a decrease in supply, there's your supply curve. Draw the supply curve now and show a decrease in it, and then um indicates your new quantity and your new price. And then you'll be able to see it's okay, no, the price increases and the quantity remains constant, or when the quantity is uncertain. Yeah, I hope that was clear as well. Let's move on. Possibility 3, also, just gonna show this. And I'm gonna draw it. They say a decrease in demand. You can see that when your demand decrease, it moves from D to D2 here, showing a decrease in demand, an increase in supply, your supply increase from S to S1. So if this happens, the price will decrease and change in quantity is uncertain. So let me draw this here as well. So this is our supply, which is positively sloping. This is our demand, which is negatively sloping. This is our price. This is our quantity. So this is our quantity EU. This is our price. And then they're saying now a decrease in demand. So this is my demand curve. I'm going to decrease it. It'll shift to the left. This is my demand. Let me just write D here. And then also an increase in supply. So this is my supply curve, positively sloping. When supply increase, it will shift to my right. So this will be my supply. And then they're saying here, prices will decrease. As you can see here, okay, my drawing is not perfect, but then this line is supposed to be exactly along with the green line. So let me just indicate that this is S, and also indicate that this was supply, this was demand. So you can see, guys, that also here, they say if there's a decrease in demand, so my demand curve is here, it decreased to this side. I didn't draw the arrows, but it's very important to show the arrows when you maybe like us to draw this in a test. Show a decrease by putting these arrows, these. So here, demand decreased from here to here, as you can see. And then supply increased from here to here. So, and then they said that if demand decreased and supply increased, there's going to be a decrease in price. You can see the price was here, it decreased to this amount here. And then a change in quantity is uncertain. Also, you can see that the quantity here remains constant, remains unchanged. So it is uncertain. Yeah. Also, if they ask you in an exam, if there's a decrease in demand and an increase in supply, what would happen to the price and the quantity? Just show this and then interpret it, and then you'll be able to answer your question. Yeah, let's continue. Decrease and okay, possibility 4, they say. By now, I'm sure everyone is able to draw this. I'm just gonna draw it was, yeah, I don't know why, but yeah. This is my supply curve. It is positively sloping. This is my demand curve. It is negatively sloping. This is my price. This is my quantity equilibrium. So this is demand and this is supply. S. And this is P. And this is Q. Okay. Now, what would happen if there's a decrease in demand. So let's decrease our demand. This is my demand curve. When it decreases, it shifts to the what's this? To the left. And then also a decrease in supply. So if they both decrease, my supply curve also when it decreases, it shifts to the left. This is my new supply curve, S1. This is my new demand curve, D1. Don't forget to show the arrows to show, okay, this is going this way. This is going this way. So if there's a decrease in both the demand and the supply curve, look what happens to the price. So the price was here. So the price was here. And then now it'll go. Now the price is here. Okay, no. This was my demand curve. This is my demand curve. I shift to this side. Yeah. And this is my supply curve. So they meet here. But I'm just looking at that, what they meet here. Can you guys see? This is where they meet. So they're saying now if there's a decrease in demand and a decrease in the price, the change in the price is uncertain. You can see now, we'll see the price is still here. It's P, still here, the price. And the quantity will decrease. So the quantity was here and decreased to this side. Can you guys see? Yeah. You just have to be able to draw this and then interpret to say what is going on. Interaction between related markets. So substitutes, taste and preference. Restriction on meat removed. So basically here they're trying to show us what would be the impact on a substitute goods in the market of fish and in the market of meat if the restrictions on meats are removed. So basically it means that maybe like people were not purchasing meat, but now because maybe there were certain restrictions and then now those restrictions have been removed. So what would happen again to meat and its substitute, which is fish in this case? So they're saying here demand for fish will decrease during the week, causing the price and the quantity to decrease. So the demand, here's a market for fish, the demand for fish will decrease. And the demand for meat will increase during the week, causing the price of quantity to increase. So the demand will increase, causing the price. Obviously, because now the restrictions for meat have been removed. So maybe now there were restrictions that were causing people not to purchase meat. But now because those restrictions have been removed, people are going to purchase more meat. And then even those that were purchasing fish are going to move away from purchasing fish and purchase meat, which is why now the demand curve, because these are substitute goods. You can either choose to eat meat, to eat fish or meat. Understand? So if the restriction for meat have been removed, most people are going to move, even those people which purchase fish, they're going to move and start to purchase meat. And then so the demand for meat will now increase from D to D1. And then other things would follow. So if the price remains at P0, we would have an excess demand, which is why I have to adjust the price up from P0 to P1, which will cause a movement along the supply curve. And also the quantity now will demanded and supplied will increase from Q0 to Q1. So the opposite would happen in the market for fish because now most people are purchasing fish, right? So what would happen, the demand for fish would then decrease from D to D1. And then also if the demand decreased and the price remained, the price cannot remain constant here. Oh yeah, if it remained constant here at P0, so here, we're going to have an excess supply. As you can see, the supply is here and the demand will be here. So to avoid this, the price would have to adjust down. And then they would come here to this equilibrium E1, where we have equilibrium quantity of Q1 and equilibrium price of P1. And then also there's going to be a shift down, a movement downward the supply curve because of a price. A movement is only caused by a decrease or increase in the price. I hope this one is clear as well to say that these are substitute goods. If restrictions on meat are removed, most people are going to buy meats, and then the demand for fish will decrease because even those people that are purchasing fish will move to purchase meat. And then this is what will happen. The demand for meat will increase. And then what happens again when the demand increase? Excuse me, the quantity which is demanded and supplied will also increase, which will lead to an increase in the price. And then along the supply curve, there'd be movement up. And then also in the market for fish, because most people are now purchasing meat, there's going to be a decrease in the demand for fish. And also the same thing follows, the price will decrease and the quantity demanded will also decrease because now people are demanding more of fish and less of, more of meat and less of fish. Complements, those are goods which are used together, such as motor cars and tires. So what would happen now in the market for motor cars and in the market for tires if the cost of producing cars increased? So now if the cost of producing cars increase, this would mean that now for the producers that produce cars, now maybe it is very expensive for them to produce these cars. So what would happen is that this will lower their productivity and their production and their output as well, because now it's expensive to produce. So meaning that the supply will decrease from S to S1. Can you guys see? So the supply for motor cars will decrease from S to S1 because now the cost of production has increased. Do you guys understand? So it will decrease from S to S1. And then if the supply increase and there's no change in the price, we're going to have an excess demand because our demand curve here is going to be here at Q0. And the supply curve is going to be here at maybe like, let's say Q2. So you can see here there's going to be an excess demand. To avoid this demand, the price would have to adjust up to this equilibrium where the prices is P1 and the quantity demanded and supply is here at Q1. You guys understand? Yeah. And then since the tires are complements of motor cars, so if the cost of producing motor cars increase, less cars are going to be produced, right? So if less cars are produced, therefore the demand for tires also, the supply for motor cars is going to decrease. Therefore, the demand for tires also will decrease. Why do cause a decrease in the demand is because if you Pella to purchase a tire, you need to have a car. So if less cars are being produced, obviously it would mean that people then will demand less tires than before. Do you guys understand that? Which is why the demand curve for armor tires will decrease from D to D1. Guys understand? And then you get the price will also decrease and the quantity also which is supplied and demanded will decrease. Obviously, because people will not be purchasing tires as before. Because why? Because there's been a decrease in the supply for motor cars, which was caused by an increase in the cost of production, which affected the productivity of the motor of the market for motor cars. Hope that was clear. Then government intervention and price controls. So price control. So we have what we call a price ceiling. So we have what we call a price ceiling and a price floor. So they say here if maximum price is stated above. So if the maximum price, so a price ceiling is also called the maximum price. The price ceiling is also called the maximum price. It is the maximum price that a seller is allowed to charge for a product. Its purpose is to keep prices below the market equilibrium price. In order to be effective, the price ceiling must be set below the equilibrium. Also, price controls electricity, bread, sugar, milk, or rent controls and etc. So these are the things which the government might put a price ceiling or maximum price on. So a price ceiling is set, or a maximum price is set below below the equilibrium price. This is basically used by the government to ensure that even the low income earners are able to afford basic products, because it is set on essential items such as your electricity, bread, sugar, milk, oil, and so on, to ensure that even the low income earners can be able to afford these products. Because what the price ceiling is saying basically, it's that when the government puts a price ceiling, the government is saying that the producers can sell this item at any price from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, but they cannot sell above this this price, which is the price ceiling of which the government has implemented. So let's say maybe like here at PM, maybe it is the price of 10 rand, and maybe this is milk. You maybe this is like milk. This is my K, and this is milk. So what this is saying is that um these producer can sell milk at any price here, but they cannot sell above the maximum price, because this is the maximum price of which they can charge for what? For milk or whatever product it is. You guys understand? Yeah. So they say here, it will not be effective if the maximum price is set above the equilibrium price. So the maximum price, it is maximum, but it is set below the equilibrium. Here's our equilibrium. So the maximum price or the price ceiling is set below the equilibrium, the equilibrium. So to be able to identify um is this set above or below, you just have to look at this thing. So it's maximum price, right? So maximum, you might assume it's because it's maximum, then therefore it has to be above the equilibrium. But here it's not the case. Maximum is below the equilibrium price. Understand? Also, maximum can be, you can say maximum price or price ceiling. Also, price ceiling, you might think it's because it's ceiling, then it has to be above, because ceiling body is above, but like because here we don't set the price ceiling above the equilibrium, but it is set below the equilibrium. And also if it is set above, then it would not be effective. How so? So let's say maybe we have we have a price ceiling here, this yellow line. We say this is our price ceiling, or this is a maximum price. So what we're saying here, we're saying that this producer can charge at any price from here, but they cannot charge above this price. Let's just say this is maybe like 100 rand. This is 100 rand, but we're saying that they cannot charge above this price for this product. So it can be hundreds, 99, 88, 50, and so on, but it cannot be above 100 rand. So why are we saying it if it is above the equilibrium is not effective? So this will not be effective because already the consumers are charging what? Are charging this price here. Let me say this price is 50 rand. So already the consumers are charging this price, which is 50 rand. So you telling them to charge at any price here, but not above this 100 rand will not have any effect on them, because already the price they're charging is here, and with this price they're able to make profits. You understand? Yeah, actually that is how I can explain it. I don't know if I can put it in a different way, but it is effective if now it is here, if it is below the equilibrium price, because now if it is below, if it is here, if the maximum price is below the equilibrium price, we say it is going to be effective. Why? Because this producers is now only allowed to charge a price which is from 0, 2, 3, 4 up to 10 rand for this product, but they cannot charge above this price. Before they were charging 20 rand, before they were charging 20 rand for this product, right? But now because of a maximum, they have to reduce their prices to 10 rand or below 10 rand. So this would have an effect. You guys understand now? So this would have an effect now because they will have to reduce their price from 20 rand to 10 rand or below that, but not above 10 rand. So what would be the effect here? There's going to be what? An excess demand, which will result in a shortage because now people will be demanding more than what suppliers can supply. Excuse me. As you can see here, the quantity demanded is here at Q2 and the quantity supplied is here at Q1. So there is an excess demand, which you can also say it's a shortage because the suppliers have supplied less than what the consumers are demanding. Do you guys understand? So they also say here, however, when maximum price is set below equilibrium, there will be significant impact. Exactly what I've just tried to explain here to say that if now the maximum price is below the equilibrium, there's going to be an effect. Because firstly, they would have to reduce the prices from 20 to 10. And then if they do that, they're going to experience what? A shortage in the market, which will lead to black markets, where now consumers will be forced to buy from other illegal producers. Basically, black markets, those are the illegal businesses which charge higher prices than even the minimum price. And then also they say here, at a lower price PM, which is this one, consumers will demand Q2, yeah, while suppliers will only be willing to supply Q1. So you can see here at PM, when there's a maximum price, consumers are demanding Q2, and the suppliers are only supplying what? Q1. As a result, there is a market shortage or excess demand. So this is going to be what? Market shortage or an excess demand because consumers are demanding more and suppliers are only supplying this much. How do you solve this problem of excess demand? Obviously by adjusting the price. But like we'll see as we go. Hope you guys didn't understand this. Okay, price ceiling. Why does the government set a price ceiling? To keep prices of basic food stuff low. I did mention Nguti, to ensure that even the low income earners can afford these items. Because you see, if the price is here at P0, it is very high. But then now the government says, no, I'm setting a maximum price, which is below the equilibrium price, which is here. So they can charge at any price, but they cannot go above the maximum price. So this is done to ensure that low income earners can afford these food stuff. Combat inflation, so to keep inflation between the inflation targeting of 3 to 6%. Avoid exploitation of consumers, where now producers, they are charging very high prices. Limit the production of certain goods and services. Yeah, they're basically explaining the same thing here, but with the figures to say it's okay. Now the government puts up a maximum price or a price ceiling of 40 rand. So to say this product here, they must it was initially they were selling it for 60 rand. For 350 quantities, you were paying 60 rand. So now the government is saying, I'm going to put a maximum price here, which means that they can only charge 40 rand and below for this product, but they cannot go above 40 rand. So what happens now is that the demand for this product increase, obviously because now the price has decreased, more people are going to want to purchase this product. So the demand will increase from here to here. And then what's going to happen to supply? Supply will decrease because now the price has gone down. So there's going to be there's going to be a shortage in the markets. This is the shortage of 300s because they said 500 minus 200 is going to be a shortage of 300 units. Consequences of setting a maximum price, limited supply. Producers will not expand production to meet the shortage. As you saw here, we see there was a shortage. Allocation of limited outputs. There's going to be limited outputs, meaning that what will be produced will be limited and not be able to satisfy all the needs of the consumers. The consumers, they demand 500, the output is 200, so there's limited output. Cost of enforcement, emergence of black market, what I did mention before, Guti, there are going to be black markets. Black markets is basically an illegal market in which the price exceeds the legally imposed price ceiling. So in the black market, the price, it's a legal market first of all, and then the price they charge are even higher than the price even higher than this price, than the 40 Rand, and even higher than 60 Rand as well. Because now consumers have no choice but to purchase, they want these products, right? But now the thing is supply has decreased because of a maximum wage. So in order to acquire these products, consumers will go looking for these products. So they even go to black markets. And then in black markets, because they see this product is in demand, then they will charge a higher price, even higher than the maximum wage, even higher than the price which they were selling its worth in the markets. Will also lead to unemployment of factors of production, meaning that the so here the factors of production which were used to purchase to produce 350 units, because now they're producing 200 units, then it means that these factors of production here will no longer be employed because they would have to reduce their production. So effects of production such as such as your laborers, which are your workers, some of them might need maybe to be retrained because now the production also has to decrease. You see something like that. Yeah, this is still the price ceiling. If now the government says this is the amount for rent should be 800 and not above 800, so the rent payers can pay rent from 500, 600, 700, 800. They cannot pay above this much. So there's going to be a housing shortage because now the suppliers, people that are willing to supply their houses, they're going to decrease from I don't know if this is 2 million to 1.8. But now more people are going to demand more housing because the prices has decreased, you see, for these apartments. Sorry, this is the price. The price has decreased, also going to create a wide shortage, just like what I explained previously. Then the price flows. So you did know, so now you know that the price ceilings, it's a ceiling, but then like it sits below the equilibrium price. It's below. Now the price flow, you might think it's because it's the price flow, then it has to be the one which is up below, sorry. It has to be the one which is below the thingy, the equilibrium price. But that is not the case. The price flow or the minimum wage is above the equilibrium price. So the price flow, it is a legally mandated minimum price. It is the minimum price that buyers are expected to pay for goods and services. What is the purpose? It is intended to maintain a price above equilibrium level. The price flow must be imposed above the equilibrium price to be effective. Example, minimum wage laws, agricultural price support. So Um, a price floor basically it makes it illegal to trade at a price lower than a specified level. Also, price floor are usually applied in the labor market and they are called a minimum wage. So if a price floor is set below the equilibrium price, it will not be effective because a price floor has to be set above the equilibrium price, as you can see here. So now the government here sets a price floor in the labor market to say ukuthi the employers must pay their employees 3,500 and above. So this one is saying 3,500 and above. They must not pay the employees and any amount which is below 3,500. Do you understand? So if the government then now sets the minimum wage, there's going to be what? There's going to be an excess um supply of labor because you can see here ukuthi labor supplied is 7.1 million while labor demanded is 3 million, meaning that more people are willing to work now because their wages now has increased. You understand? So many people are willing to work. But look at the labor that is demanded. Labor that is demanded by the companies and yeah, the employers. Employers now they previously they were demanding 5 million laborers, but now because the price has increased, they demand 3 million. So meaning that the labor demanded is less than the labor which is supplied. People want to supply their labor. People are willing to work. 7.1 million people are willing to work. But the businesses they only need 3 million laborers. So this will then lead to what? To unemployment. Because firstly there's going to be excess supply of labor because more labor is supplied but less labor is needed. And then there's going to be unemployment. Why? Because you can see from, let me just draw here. You can see that here, from here, when the wages was 2,800, yeah, you see that when the wages was 2,800, 5 million labor was supplied and also was demanded. Do you see that? But then now because of a minimum wage of 3,500, 3 million labor is demanded and 7.1 million is supplied. Meaning that from here, from here to here, um, so from here to here, this indicates that, um, wait. So from here to here, it's going to indicate that there has been, oh, answer share. So from here to here, this is what, because like, Ange team previously, um, previously we were, this was our labor, and now this is yes, this is going to be the number of people which will be retrenched from here to here. Can you guys see that? Because this was the labor which we demanded when the price was 2,800, right? Sorry, when the wages were 2,800. But because of our minimum wage would lead to an increase in the wages, now it's 3,500. This will put a strain on the employees, on the employers, and therefore they would have to retrench some workers. So this this area here, this area here, it indicates the number of workers that will be without jobs. This area here. that had jobs, but they now would have to be rechanged because in order to reduce what? To reduce the cost of the business. And this year will just this part it shows the number of workers that are now willing to work. Because before this, we had only 5 million people willing to work and were actually with employment. Do you understand? When the wages were 2.8. But because of an increase in the wages from here to here, what it resulted in what? In unemployment because now the 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 employers had to rechange 2 million people, these people, and also ignore these people here that wants to enter the job market, that want to supply their labor. Do you guys understand? I just explained that for clarity, but what you just have to know um when the government sets the minimum wage or the price flow, there's going to be an excess surplus of labor, meaning that an excess supply of labor, meaning that more people would be willing to work now that the wages have increased. But this now would then lead to a decrease in the labor demanded by the employers and also lead to unemployment. So the effects of a minimum wage, the 3 million employees who will keep their jobs earn more income at the expense of the 2 million who lose their jobs. This is what I was trying to explain to say that because 5 million people were employed, right? When the wages was 2.8. I'm just repeating because I'm trying to make sure that you guys understand. So when the price was 2.8, 5 million people were employed, right? And then now because of a minimum wage, the wage increased from 2.8 to 3,500. So you see that now because the price is increased, employers are willing to employ 3 million people. So it means that these people here, this 2 million, will be the people that will be retrenched from work, leading to unemployment. The minimum wage creates unemployment, yes. Less output is produced by firms as they employ fewer workers. Yeah, straightforward. Increase in wages mean higher cost of production. Hence, consumers must now pay a higher price for a smaller quantity of output. Price control. Yeah, basically repeating the same thing here. To show goods your surplus is how much. To calculate the surplus, you just say this minus this. You get that. Consequences of setting minimum prices. Disposal of surpluses. What does the government do with the surplus that farmers produce? Some consumers are eliminated from the market. Producers, farmers are better off at the expense of consumers and efficiencies. Yeah, and then, yeah, I think as we're done with what we had to know for this part, we can just do like these two questions and then the government concludes that alcohol abuse is the cause of many road deaths and family problems. To combat the abuse of alcohol, the government decides to implement a minimum price floor. So guys, keep in mind the price floor or the minimum price, because it's minimum and it's floor, you might assume that it is below the equilibrium price, right? Which is wrong. It is above the equilibrium price. And then they say use the relevant diagram. So the government is going to implement a price flow here, which is states above the minimum price, to try and do what to discourage the consumption of alcohol, obviously, because the government is increasing the prices in that case. They say use the relevant diagrams to discuss the effectiveness of the following possibilities. So if the government sets the price floor below the present market price of alcohol, so let me just draw this first. Today I'm loving green. I'm just going to draw it here. And then this is going to be my supply. This is going to be my demand. And then this is the equilibrium price, the equilibrium quantity. So the question is saying, use the relevant diagram to discuss the effectiveness of each of the following possibilities. The government sets the price flow. The price flow, we know the price flow is set above its flow, so it's above the equilibrium price. So now the government says the price flow below the present market price of for alcohol. We know that this does not happen. The price flow is set above. So the price flow is here, is above the, the market equilibrium. So now if they wanted to set it below, it's going to be, we say that it is ineffective. It is ineffective if it is set below. Why? Because it's going to be here, right? So the price flow is basically saying it is set above because the government is saying, Guti, the business must charge anything from the price flow and above. So if it is here and the business is charging for this product, maybe like they're charging this amount, which is 10 Rand here, and then you put a price flow and then you put it the below the market equilibrium, maybe let's say this is now 2 Rand. So what you're saying is this business can sell this item for 2 Rand and above. So this is not going to be effective because already they are selling this item at 10 Rand, which is above this price that you've already set. This price flow which you've set. So this will not be effective then. Do you understand? It will not cause a surplus, nor will it cause a deficit. So nor will it cause a shortage because a price flow is set above the equilibrium price. To say Guti, they must charge. Okay, let me look at the next question. The next question is saying now, the government sets the price flow above. Okay, now it's going to be effective. Okay, so let me just put it above. So now if the price flow is above here, the market price. So the market price was, I said this was 2 Rand, guys. Oh, no, I said this was 10 Rand. So now the government puts a price flow of maybe like 20 Rand to say, okay, for this item, the business must charge 20 Rand and above, not below 20 Rand. So this now is going to be effective because they would have to increase their prices, you see, and also there's going to be this thing because this is our demand curve and this is our supply curve. Because of this price flow, we're going to experience this, meaning that the quantity which is supplied is going to be greater than the quantity which is demanded. So, and here we're going to have a quantity which is supplied, and here we would have a quantity which is demanded. So this would lead towards an excess or a shortage. Sorry, to an excess demand or an excess supply. So here there's going to be an excess supply because more will be supplied and consumers are only demanding this much. So now the price flow will be effective if it is set above the market price. Yeah, we're just going to do the last question now. Question 2, I think also question 2 is just similar to this one. They're saying a minimum, you might think it's okay because it's minimum, then it's below the market price, but that is not the case. It is above the market price. So it's basically the same as the price flow in minimum wage. So the minimum wage is set above. So it sits above, it's correct if it is above, so it's going to be effective. So it sits above the equilibrium wage is imposed on the motor industry. Use diagram to explain the effect of the minimum wage on the price of cars. So to explain the effects of a minimum wage in the price of cost, so if this was your supply, if this was your demand, and then now there's a minimum wage, it's going to be here. The effect is the same as the one I explained before. There's going to be in excess supply because now supply is going to be here. This is my supply curve and demand is here. So let me just try to choose a different color. What is going on into color red. So this is going to be like this. So this is supply, this is demand. You can see that there's going to be an excess supply if this happened. And then there's going to be an increase in the price, obviously. Yeah. And then yeah. They say, what are the consequences of the government imposing a minimum wage? If the government imposes a minimum wage, we know that this is the labor. This is going to just take us back to the diagram this one. So what will be what is the question? The consequences of government imposing a minimum wage. So if we impose a minimum wage, you can see the labor supplied is going to increase, but the labor demand is going to decrease, meaning that the employers are going to demand 20 um laborers or workers, but like more people are going to want to provide their labor because the the wages has increased, which would lead to what? To a surplus of labor supply because more people will be willing to supply their labor, excess supply, and then also this leading to unemployment because of these people here, which are going to be retrenched in order to try and reduce the cost because now the prices have increased. Yeah, I think that is all. I am going to do the tutorial for this chapter, but these are just the questions that you guys can do. Yeah, guys, good luck and bye. Let me stop the recording.